Welcome back, everybody, to another in my aviation history series, and this is episode 43 in my history on the RCAF. And yes, that means we are getting very close to the end of this RCAF history. Hopefully, well, if my math is right here in 2025, I should be wrapping up the majority of the actual units, and we'll see about some of the ancillary units I plan on doing. What I am trying to get to is I need ideas for what to talk about next. Is there any other specific RCAF history you guys want to see? Do you want me to talk about RCAF aircraft? Do you want to talk about other countries' units, other RAF units, USAAF units? By all means, please let me know what you guys want down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think I should do next. If I don't get anything, I'm going to make up whatever I want and just continue doing what I'm doing now, and that's just having fun on this channel. So, yeah, that's where we are. So, in this episode, we're going to be looking at 440 Squadron from its start in the pre-war years to today as the only real RCAF unit permanently based in Canada's north. It's had a really long and interesting history. And as always, before we get into that, my name is Sean, and this is Sean's Aviation. And while I don't say it enough, I can't see everyone out there. People are liking and subscribing to this channel. Please, if you haven't yet, go down below, hit up like, hit that subscription. That notification bell will let you all know when I release new content. And please, if you have any ideas, like I said, down below, just general comments. Liked it, didn't like it, whatever, you were wrong. I don't care. If you want to post anything, go down there, leave me a comment. Always happy to engage with the YouTube family that's out there. But on that note, let's get into this. We'll look at the history of 440 Squadron. 440 Squadron was initially formed on October 5th of 1932 as number 11 Squadron, an Army Cooperations unit based in Vancouver. It received its first aircraft, DH-60 Gypsy Moths, and began a routine of weekend flying with an annual summer camp. In 1935, it received a single Fleet Fawn that was equipped for instrument flying, and in 1937, it received two Avro Tudors. On November 15th of 1937, it was redesignated as a Coastal Artillery Cooperation Unit, but many of its operations were still geared towards Army cooperation. In March of 1938, one of their Gypsy Moths was replaced with an Avro 626, and by June of 1939, all the Moths were gone. With the outbreak of World War II, the unit's direction changed. It formed a detachment in Victoria before the entire unit moved over and was redesignated as number 8111 Fighter Unit on July 1st of 1940. As no modern fighters were available, the unit flew Westland Lysanders at this time. Due to this lack of modern fighters, the unit was temporarily disbanded on February 1st of 1941, being reformed on November 3rd with Kitty Hawks. It was tasked with fighter protection of the west coast of Canada and took part in the Aleutian Islands campaign. As part of this, the unit was co-located with the United States Army Air Force at the base in Umnak, Alaska, and while here flew P-40Ks from USAAF stock. The unit took part in a number of raids on Japanese bases at Kiska, and on September 26 of 1942, during one of these raids, Squadron Leader Boomer was credited with the only kill recorded to a home unit when he shot down an A6M2 roof float plane. In late 1943, the unit was selected as one of 6 home units to be transferred to England to help bolster forces in the lead-up to the invasion of mainland Europe. The unit began the process of leaving the aircraft and taking the train across the country before leaving for England on ships. The unit arrived in England and were settled into their new base in Ayr, Scotland by February 14th of 1944. They were renumbered 440 Squadron, assigned the squadron code I-8, and started to train first on the Hurricane Mark IV, receiving their first aircraft almost immediately upon arrival. In March, the unit began to receive the Hawker Typhoon, and this is the aircraft they flew for the remainder of the war. On March 18th, they moved to Hearn to begin operations, flying their first mission on March 30th with an anti-shipping sweep over the Channel. Most Typhoon units specialize in either rockets or bombs, and 440 was designated as a bomber unit. On April 3rd, the unit moved to Funtington, and on April 20th, they moved to Hearn again in preparation for the invasion of Europe. On D-Day, June 6th of 1944, the unit was tasked with armed reconnaissance, and it was a maximum effort day. 2 aircraft were damaged, and 1 was lost, with the loss of 1 pilot. Very quickly after D-Day, the unit moved across to France to stay close to the front lines. and the bases they were located at are as follows. B9, Longthuy, France, on June 28th of 1944. B24, Saint Andre, France, on August 31st of 1944. B48, Glizé, France, September 3rd of 1944. B58, Malsbrook, Belgium, September 6th of 1944. B78, Eindhoven, Belgium, September 26th of 1944. B100 in Koch, Germany, March 30th of 1945. B110, Osnabrück, Germany, April 11th, 1945. B150, Höchstadt, Germany, April 20th of 1945. And finally, B166, Flensburg, Germany, on May 29th of 1945. The unit flew its last combat mission on April 11th when 11 Typhoons participated on a dive bombing of German emplacements around the Aachen, Germany, and it was disbanded on August 26th of 1945 while based at Flensburg, Germany. During World War II, the unit flew 4,820 operational hours over 4,213 sorties. It dropped 2,215 tons of bombs and was credited with 1 enemy aircraft destroyed, 1 damaged, and 1 probable. It was also credited with 420 rail cuts, 5 bridges destroyed, 309 vehicles destroyed with 262 damaged, 9 tanks destroyed with 7 damaged, 2 locomotives destroyed with 48 damaged, 93 trains destroyed with 500 damaged, and 4 barges destroyed with 50 damaged. It suffered 38 aircraft lost, with 23 pilots killed, 5 missing, 3 POWs, and 1 who evaded capture. The post-war life of 440 Squadron began on October 1st of 1953 when the unit was stood up at RCAF Station Bagotville as an all-weather fighter unit. It was assigned the Squadron code KE and received the CF-100 Mark IIIs that same month. It was part of the NORAD defense network and was tasked with protecting the skies of North America from a potential Soviet bomber attack. In February of 1955, the unit upgraded to the CF-100 Mark IV-B, and in May of 1957, it was selected as one of the 4 CF-100 units to relocate to Europe. These 4 CF-100 units would replace one of the Sabre units in each European wing, giving this forces an all-weather fighter capability. 440 was selected to be part of 3 Wing at Zweibrücken, Germany, and the unit flew the aircraft to Europe in May 1957 as part of Operation Nimblebat 2. You can find a link to my video on Operation Leapfrog and Nimblebat above. The unit was all settled into their new home base by May 12th and quickly began training over the skies of Europe. Now, unfortunately, the unit did not stay long as the CF-100 was withdrawn from service in 1962, and with that, the unit stood down on December 31st of 1962. After the unification of the Canadian Forces in February of 1968, a realigning of units took place and 440 was stood back up on July 9th of 1968 as a communications and rescue squadron based at CFB Winnipeg, flying Dakotas and the H-21 Vertol helicopter. In November, it was redesignated as a transport and rescue squadron. By 1971, it had moved to CFB Namao outside Edmonton, although I can't find an accurate date for when it officially moved there. By this time, the unit had also re-equipped with the CC-115 Buffalo and the CC-138 Twin Otter and focused mainly on northern flying and rescue operations. It had a permanent detachment of 2 Twin Otters located in Yellowknife to increase its presence in northern Canada. In 1974, the CC-115s were moved on to other search and rescue units, and 440 was left with only the CC-138 Twin Otter. In 1994, CFB Namao was closed, and 440 moved with their entire fleet to CFB Yellowknife, where they are still located today, with a complement of 4 Twin Otters. Their missions include light transport, utility and liaison in support of both Canadian Forces as well as the Canadian Rangers, as well as support of the local air cadet units. The unit routinely flies their aircraft across Canada, displaying at air shows and training with other CAF units. The aircraft are routinely fitted with skis in the winter months and provide a capability not available with other air assets within the Canadian Forces. Being the only RCAF unit permanently based in the North gives 440 a unique place in the RCAF world. It is a lifeline to many in the North, and even though it is not a dedicated search and rescue unit, It's, in most cases, the first unit on site when there is some sort of accident or incident in Canada's north. And as well, only having Twin Otters and having the only Twin Otters in the RCAF inventory, they are a highlight for many spotters when they do make their way south and attend various air shows in the rest of Canada. Now, the future is not guaranteed for this unit, as these Twin Otters are some of the original built and they are getting up there in age. Now, Viking Aircraft, which is now de Havilland Canada, they have the new Series 400 Twin Otter in production, which could always be adopted by the RCAF, but that would involve investment, and unfortunately, that's something we've seen a drastic lack of with Canada's military over the past number of decades. So it'd be interesting to see if 440 does get new aircraft, if it's going to be new Twin Otters, if they go at something completely different. You have a just as good an idea as I do about where those are going to go. Now, all that being said, hopefully 440 Squadron does stick around because it has a really unique history and, as I said, a vital role in protecting Canada's north. And that is going to be a big part of where Canada needs to put its focus in the coming decades as more and more countries and companies try to use our north for their own benefit. Now, on that note, I'm going to wrap it up here. So thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time.